The question is, I've spent my PPP money and I am ready to file for forgiveness. What do I do? This could be and might actually be an entire training in itself. But what do you do? So you're saying you got your PPP money however long ago, you've spent it on whatever you are allowed to spend it on, you spent it accordingly, and now you're ready to apply for forgiveness so you can be done with it, right? Okay, so the first thing you need to do if you are ready to file for forgiveness is contact your bank, because many banks, especially the big ones, they're not accepting forgiveness applications yet. Okay, they're not, because you guys, they're banking on Congress passing some sort of blanket forgiveness for these smaller loan amounts. All right. So they're not accepting any. They're just hoping, they're putting it off, and not to deter, like not as a disservice to you guys as their clients. They just don't want to do all the, process all these forgiveness loans and then find out they didn't have to do all that work. And that's what I'm telling my clients as well. I'm like, I'm happy to help you with your forgiveness application, and this is how much time it'll take and this is how much it'll cost. But I would hate for you to pay me to do that and have me and then find out you didn't have to do it. So we are following in line with the banks and telling our clients to hold off on trying to file for forgiveness for completing all the application paperwork. Because again, number one, most banks aren't even taking anything. And then if they are, there's not very many that are. So even if your bank is accepting applications and you're ready to go to file for forgiveness, then you're free to do so. Go right ahead. But remember that you do have 10 months from the end of your covered period to file for forgiveness. So there's no rush to file for forgiveness unless you have a reason. And we've talked about these reasons, but the biggest reason being that right now, if you file for forgiveness, you're satisfying the FTE, the full-time equivalents, okay? And you have to lay off again. So you want to get your application in before you lay off and you don't satisfy that FTE anymore. Okay, that is really or you have to cut hours, because those two requirements in order to get full forgiveness is you keep your number of employees and you keep your hours the same. Okay, so if you're at the point now where you're like, okay, everything's good, I'm satisfying the FTE, I didn't cut anyone's pay, but in 3 weeks I have to, then I get your urgency to file that forgiveness application, okay? But if it's just because you want to get it off your plate, to me, that's not a reason to rush through and get this done. I'm confident that some sort of blanket forgiveness is going to be passed. How much, we don't know. We keep hearing 150,000, like loans under 150,000 will be, they'll fall under that blanket forgiveness, but we don't know. We have no idea because they haven't passed anything yet. Sidestep here real quick. If this is you, if you're like, wait, I think I might need to file sooner rather than later. My bank is accepting, but I don't know. That is why we have these PPP consultations, these personalized PPP strategy sessions for you guys. And I will roll back to that in a second. But questions like that are exactly what these strategy sessions are made for. Okay. So let me get back on track. So step one is contact your bank, because if your bank isn't accepting applications, there's nothing you can do there in terms of actually filing for that forgiveness. So step two is, while you wait for Congress and the banks to make a move, you guys, you can and you should make sure you have and or are spending your money in a way that maximizes your forgiveness. Okay. I know a lot of you are still spending money because you either got your loan later, or you're using the full 24 weeks, or for whatever reason, you still have your PPP funds and you're still figuring out ways to spend it in the ways that will get it forgiven. All right. So step two, while you're waiting to apply for forgiveness, make sure you have or you are spending your money in a way that maximizes your forgiveness. Okay, because remember, even if blanket forgiveness is granted, you guys, you're still going to need to certify that you spent the money correctly, that you spent it on the correct expenses and in the right amount of time. Okay, and you still have to keep records, not only for potential future SBA audits, but likely for your 2020 tax prep as well. And if you own a business and you do not have a tax professional doing your tax return, like maybe you've done it before for yourself in the past, that's fine, no judgment here. But if you have a PPP loan in 2020, you do not want to prepare your own tax return. Okay, you want to find a tax accountant who has knowledge of PPP and the understanding of that, okay? That can be me, that can be someone else, but you do not want to self-prepare your 2020 tax return if you're a business with a PPP loan. And you don't just want to go to Joe Schmo CPA or Joe Schmo tax accountant to do it either. You need to find someone who has the PPP knowledge, okay? Because you guys, I've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours learning the PPP stuff, and I still, there's still a lot of stuff to learn, okay? And I know that there are a lot of tax accountants out there who didn't keep up with it, who just were kind of like, I'm not dealing with this. I have too much other stuff going on. And so you want to make sure that when you're looking for an accountant, that you specifically ask what their experience with PPP and their understanding of PPP is, okay, if you have a PPP loan.